Basically, they wanted a new search engine. So they have all these contracts statewide, and every agency is allowed to use the state contracts. The problem is, there's so many contracts that they don't know which contract to use or what's available. So they went through, about 5 years ago, and they did the traditional approach. So they got the vendors in, and they told the vendors what to do. Pick the vendor, and the vendor did exactly what they wanted. So for this case, for this search engine creation, this is their intent. And this is how they described what they wanted. Very straightforward. The best value approach. Do the job, right, in the simplest language. And then they gave them some metrics. So the first column is the current performance of the contract search engine that they have. So if you look at it, time it takes to find a contract, percent of information that has to be found manually, 50%. What that means is 1 out of every 2 attempts was successful, and 1 out of every 2 attempts had to be done manually by somebody who's helping this system. So then they had to come up with their requirements, which we asked them to identify it in something that was observable or measurable. And this was all given to the vendors. This was the schedule. So you can see the time frames here. I guess one of the main concerns that they had was just giving the limited amount of information. How are the vendors even going to respond, right? I was worried that they wouldn't have enough vendors to respond. Okay, so we did get 5 vendors in, and data gain ended up being the identified best value, and you can see their metrics. Well, what they did was, they got a little nervous. They got a little nervous. They said, we just want the search engine, but we're also very interested in these other things. So I said, can you list them? And they said, yes, we can list them. So they listed them down, and we'll ask the vendors that if they can do it, they can offer it in the value-added section. Very straightforward. Okay, so then they came back, and this is the most dominant information. Now, what's really interesting about this is the range. As soon as I saw the pricing, I saw the number of value-added items addressed. I said, oh my goodness. I said, I can figure this one out even before the interview. So we kept moving. Because the price range was so big, we said, we have to go back out to the vendors and ask them for more detailed reference information, and we're going to call every one of the references, or we're going to attempt to call them even before we get to the interview. right? That made sense. So we went. And these are the numbers. When it says 3 out of 5, that means we try to get 5, but we couldn't get 2 of them. It's physically impossible. Well, search engine, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we wanted to know that they could actually do a search engine. I believe one of the vendors came in and said, we haven't exactly done that. But I think as we went through the process, they all had done something like this. Looking at the numbers again. Once again, not everybody answered all the requirements. But we kept them all in the best interest of the client. But clearly in my mind, it seemed like data gain met every requirement, and there was no question that they had the references, that people were happy, that they'd actually done something. So when you couple this with this, my mind is very simplistic. Low price, they did everything, they met all the requirements, everybody says they're good. In my mind, it's like a no-brainer. Pardon? Why not? I'm not doing a lot of work. No one is. Right? And you all didn't do a lot of work, right? Okay. So I said, what's the harm? Keep them all in. Then the ratings on the documents done by the selection group. Yes. Yes, the numbers there are averages, right, from a number of people in the selection board. Well, you can see that the risk assessment was nobody did well. So if you eliminated that, well, I'm looking at this myself and saying, oh, shoot, I can sleep tonight. Although you guys weren't sleeping. All I have to do now is have them come in for the interview. If everybody picked data gain, it's a non-issue. They came in, who had the best score? Same vendor. We did a dominance check. They were the lowest cost. They answered all the questions. They were very comfortable. All their references said they're really good. This is actually so easy, right?
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel for more content. If you have any questions about the best value approach or for Dr. Dean, leave them in the comment section below and we'll get to them in a later video. Thanks. We'll see you next time.